Welcome into the latest edition of our Cubs Recap Podcast, a presentation of our Recap YouTube channel and available audio only everywhere you get your favorite podcast. That is my guy, my partner, Gordon Wittenmyer. I'm David Kaplan. It's brought to you by our great partners at Sinus and SnoringMD.com. This dude right here, me, I used to snore like a freight train. And my wife finally said one night, we have to have a talk. Hun, we have a good friend. His name is John. His daughter works for this company called Sinus and Snoring MD. You have to get the snoring taken care of because I want to keep sleeping next to you. I can't handle it. You're keeping me up. So I went in and out same day, piece of cake. Guess what? This guy does not snore anymore.
Hey, I need that phone number for my wife.
Oh, there you go. Well, at Sinus and Snoring MD, just go to the website, sinusandsnoringmd.com. 25 plus years experience. They treat their patients like family. They take care of allergies, snoring, sinus issues. Sinusandsnoringmd.com. All right, Gordon, you're at the GM meetings. I have
just wrapped up.
Yep, I have been working the phones very intensely. I've been told by multiple people outside the Cubs organization that they are not going to be big players in free agency. They could be convinced to give a multi-year deal to the Japanese pitcher that is coming over. But that
I was going to ask you about that guy.
Yeah, they said Kyle Tucker out. They're not going to play in the deep end of the pool there. Nope. They would rather give Owen Casey, Ballesteros their opportunities to play. My problem with that is, and I know they're saying all the right things. They said to you, hey, we're going to put money into pitching. Great. You better put money into pitching or you don't even have a chance. My problem is I don't think their offense is good enough. I don't. And I think it's absolutely ludicrous to think it is by not adding and taking Kyle Tucker away.
Cap, I was actually, this is one of the few times I've been on the same page with Jed Hoyer when in talking to him at the GM meetings. He said the same thing I've been telling you. They got to go big on pitching. And if it means they do nothing of substance with the lineup until maybe the trade deadline, if that dictates, then so be it. They're not going to win without going big on pitching. And that means adding at least a start. I think they ought to add 2 starters and some bullpen help. They got to get that right. That ballpark, the first half last year, they were the best offensive team in the game. The ballpark came back into play in a way that it had been in previous years.
Had been or hadn't been?
Had been.
Okay.
So, some of the offensive numbers can be a little deceiving. They hit home runs. That helps win in the postseason. They've got one of the elite contact hitters in the game in Nico Horner, and they play terrific defense. They need pitching. They made the playoffs. They almost got to another round, lost in the 5th game to Milwaukee. If they had more pitching, I think we'd have seen them make a significant run at what could they have beaten the Dodgers? Probably not, but we would have seen an LCS in likelihood. So they got to do that. And this is, hey, direct quote from Jed. I expect to explore trades and free agency, both at the top of the market and also looking at minor league free agents. And he's talking about pitching. He's talking about pitching. Another quote from him essentially said, if we had to play a game tomorrow, we have the position players to do it, presumably to be competitive. And I don't think that he's wrong on that. There's better lineups out there, but if you start chasing hitters, that's a fool's errand for what this roster looks like right now.
Gordon, I'm not saying you got to chase 7 bats in the offseason. You're going to believe Matt Shaw's the guy at third. You're going to also believe that PCA is going to go 30-30 again. You're going to also believe Michael Busch is going to hit 34 home runs again. You're going to also believe Carson Kelly is going to be an all-star level catcher. I don't.
I didn't say any of that. But if you have to win games 9-7, I don't care who you add to that lineup. You're not going to do it. you're going to have to win 4-2 games.
I'm all for adding pitching, but I think they need to go. You can't take Kyle Tucker's bat out and not replace it.
You can go into the season essentially with that lineup and win 4-2 games if you have enough pitching. And that's going to have to be that's the best recipe. And by the way, that's taking Jed at his word that this idea that they're going to be willing to spend. Some people are out there speculating that they're going to go big. He made it sound like it. He even said that the qualifying offers attached to a lot of these big name free agent pitchers are not an impediment to them going after him. And that's not always been the same message from this team. And it's definitely not the same message across the industry. So it could mean guys like Framber Valdez are in play, Dylan Cease, Zach Gallen. I'm just looking down the list. Michael King. And then you got the Japanese pitcher, Tetsuya Imai.
Imai, correct.
He's going to post next week on the 19th. And he's a Boris guy. He's 27 years old. Boris compared him to Yamamoto. Of course, Boris said his numbers are favorable, if not better.
Right. What movie line did he use to describe this guy?
Yeah. Well, let's see. He made a pun on his first name that had something to do with tattoos, and I can't remember what his pun for his last
Cody
name.
Bellinger was Top Gun Maverick.
He was an urban maverick. He had like 5 different
Viper,
10 different puns involving Top Gun for him. Boris is always entertaining these things. He's got a lot of clients this year, but that Japanese pitcher is good. Yeah, when you're talking about when they went and signed Imanaga, they paid a posting fee. You're going to have to pay a posting fee for this guy, and so when he says that the qualifying offers where you'd have to give up a draft pick aren't an impediment, you can totally see why. I mean, they're going to have to pay a tax one way or the other, whether it's in a draft pick or a posting fee. And Imanaga's not out of the picture yet.
And that's ridiculous. So you're playing a game to go to the NLCS, and you don't have any confidence in putting that guy on the mound, but we'll give him $20 million. That's a joke.
Well, that's two sides of that coin. Are you get the compensation pick if he turns it down and when he signs somewhere else. But the other side of that is kind of like they declined a 3-year, $57.5 million option on him.
Mm-hmm.
That was the club side.
I would have too.
$15 million 1-year deal. We talked about this before. Jed has said it a million times, and it's a truism according to a lot of executives in the game. No such thing as a bad 1-year deal. 22 for 1 year still gives him the flexibility going forward from that. And with the CBA talks, and this might be a good place to drop in Jed talking about. We got a clip.
Here's Jed. Let's do it. Jed with Gordon
the budget
on the budget
and pitching.
Expect it to be an active offseason. I've never give any kind of budget predictions or budget thoughts. I think, frankly, not because of our fans. I think it hurts us competitively with other teams. So we'll keep that in-house. But no, I expect to be active and probably more on the pitching side than the hitting side.
Last year, you obviously made a big move to get a guy like Kyle Tucker. Do you see that kind of an impact move coming somewhere?
Well, you want to explore it. You want to be active. You want to be engaged in all the conversations. And if something that lines up, then you want to be ready to do it.
Is budget going to be bigger than last year?
Next.
I mean, just
I'm
not looking for an exact number.
No, I'm not going to say. No speculation.
Okay. So I'm a Jed guy. I like him. I think he's really smart dude. I think he's a good person. I think he's at times too risk averse for my taste.
Yes, he has been from the get-go. Yeah.
I also think he, unlike Theo has the ability to find a way, man. I know you're telling me my budget doesn't have enough money, Tom. I'm getting that guy. Find a way.
Yeah.
Where I think Jed plays nicer in the sandbox, so to speak. admirable qualities. And Jed can't write out contract offers without the blessing of the guy signing the checks. You know, we can all go,
Hey, it's the same
"Can't
guy
believe he
signing the
didn't."
checks as when Theo was there.
Right. But what I'm saying is he can't say, yeah, we're going to go get the kid from Japan who hit 56 home runs and I don't care what it costs. And Tom can go, yeah, no, not doing it. Right?
Yeah, sort of. I mean, Tom gives him an overall, he can do whatever he wants with the overall budget. I think Theo was definitely more aggressive at advocating for things like that. I think he tended to be more cutthroat about trying to win. Now, that said, his first 5 years there were about trying to win that big one. And they were chasing it after that and didn't catch it. But to your original point, Theo was not as risk averse historically with the free agents. And part of that was he came from Boston where he was given a lot more resources that way. And he didn't always hit, but they could buy their way out of it sometimes. And when he wanted a guy, there were few executives in the game who were good enough at making that pitch and getting the guy, the one big guy they wanted in a given winter. And I don't know. I think Jed tends to be, yes, more risk averse. He tends to look at the numbers a little more, and he tends to think in terms of ranges as opposed to that guy that I need that's going to put me over the top or that's going to be the tone setter for this or define that position area.
So I'm with you. They need to add pitching. They need two pretty high-end starters. They do. I get it. Would you make Dylan Cease one of those guys?
Yeah, only because he's the guy that brings he takes the ball out of play. He brings the swing and miss. Now, that said, he's a Boris guy, and he also look, there's two sides to this coin, right? He's got 7 years of something like, he's got a bunch of years in a row of like 30 plus starts. He's got a lot of,
he's made the most starts since 2020 of any pitcher in the game.
Right. And so, you look at that and I'm not saying that, like, you look at that as durability, but this is also a guy that had an elbow issue when they brought him in. I mean, remember, he was a Cubs prospect who underwent Tommy John surgery, came through that. They were going to make him a reliever, and they traded him in the Quintana trade, and the Sox turned him into an all-star caliber starter, and which he's been since, with some ups and downs. He's going to command a lot, especially with Boris as his agent, especially with all those strikeouts, and especially with that track record of all those starts. So you're gonna pay a lot for him, and he's got a qualifying offer. So there's that. I like the idea. If you're going big for pitching, I do like that idea. We've talked about it before, man. I love the idea for Framber Valdez.
So if I told you that the Chicago Cubs did not sign Framber Valdez, did not sign Dylan Cease, but they traded a package to go get Joe Ryan from Minnesota, what would you say?
That counts. I'd be on that. I'd say, well, that's a big move. That's a significant top of the market move. That's the other thing when Jed talks about trades, that's not just blowing smoke. That's not just management talk saying, well, we're going to explore everything. There are some significant pitchers out there who may be traded. Sonny Gray may be traded from the Cardinals. There's some talk about Skubal in Detroit. I don't think he'll get moved. The Reds are getting people asking them about Hunter Green, and there's a possibility. I don't see him getting moved, but there's a possibility they could trade from their pitching depth.
Freddie Peralta is also going to get moved.
Freddie Peralta's another one, although I talked to Matt Arnold with Milwaukee, and they think they can win, and they're weighing that kind of like the Skubal thing. Like, we think we can win again. And if we do, he's got to be a big part of that. So you're weighing that value too. So they're out there. There's teams that are going to be that are already taking those calls, and that if you came in with a strong enough package, you could get some of those guys. But and this is to go back to Theo again. One of the things that Theo liked to say when you have the resources is the difference is with free agency, it's just money. You're not giving up the player capital.
Exactly. He's right. That's what I don't understand. Like, why would I tell Minnesota, yeah, you can have Jackson Wiggins, who's on the precipice of the big leagues, and you can have Matt Shaw, and I'll take Joe Ryan. Well, I already went through the year of growth with Matt Shaw, and Jackson Wiggins might be better than Cade Horton.
Yeah. But you're also in a window now where you got to win, so if you're going to move Wiggins, what are you getting back? I mean, it better be big, and it better not be it better be more than a year or two. I like the idea of this Japanese pitcher, if you could get him.
Well, if he's as good as Yamamoto, sign me the heck up. I just don't believe the Cubs will be playing in the deep end of the pool for multi-year deals. I don't believe it.
Yeah. I mean, between the posting fee and the fact this guy is a Boris client and he throws 99 miles an hour, he's got a 2.18 career ERA in the MPB. He'll cost money. I mean, if Boris is already comparing him to Yamamoto got $300 million.
Correct.
So, and this guy's 27 years old.
Yeah,
so.
You're telling me Jed Hoyer's going, let's call it 6 for 300. That's what, probably 7 for 300. That's what Scott's going to ask for.
Well, let me ask you this, Cap. The franchise record for a contract is 8 years, 184. It's still Jason Hayward, which was signed a decade ago. How high do you think they would go in let's just call it a total contract commitment? How big do you think they'd go?
For the right guy? Like if you said,
yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying.
You said they could get Skubal. I'm not saying they will. I'm just saying if Skubal got moved to the Chicago Cubs,
what would they do?
I think they would go probably 7 for 350.
You think they would jump from a 184 franchise record overall contract to basically almost double that?
I do believe that if it was for
pitcher.
For Skubal, yes. But I don't think they would ever put enough of a package together to get him. I don't.
I think they're scared as shit of going much bigger than what their record is. I think 200, between 200 and 250 is probably their ceiling on a 7 to 10 year deal for anybody. I think that's
7 to 10 years. That's $20 million a year. You're not getting shit for that.
What I'm saying is based on the behavior, and I'm not talking Jed as much as I'm talking ownership, but really a little bit of symbiosis there between them. I mean, the way they work together, I don't think the appetites, it's just my feeling. It doesn't seem
I don't disagree with you. I reported this morning on my Coffee with Cap feature I do every morning that I do not believe they will be players for the big free agents because they have no appetite for putting these big long-term deals in play. Tom sat in this studio and said to us, I'll go hire AAV less years. Well, that's not going to get Tarek Skubal if he gets moved.
Right. I mean, that's how they got Matt Boyd, right? And there's Brandon Woodruff got a qualifying offer. I don't know if he'll take it. I mean, if I'm Brandon Woodruff, I probably take it. I mean, he's coming off that long injury, and he had a little hiccup at the end of the year. $22 million, I probably take it. But he would be one of those upside type guys to go get.
But Matt Boyd, you got the perfect storm. He had been injured, so he wasn't going to get multi years. He was going to get $14 million a year. His grandfather loved the Cubs and grew up a Cubs fan, and the whole deal, and was the greatest night of his life when the Cubs won the World Series. And Matt was emotional about it. So he said, I always wanted to pitch here. That's the perfect storm. But there's also going to be guys out there who go, I don't give a flying rip about the Chicago Cubs. I'm going for the most money.
Yeah. And, you know, the thing that we haven't talked about is that the labor negotiations have essentially already begun. They've had some preliminary talks. They've had some meetings between, in fact, I saw from a distance across a bank of ballrooms, Manfred at the GM meetings. Supposedly they have met with union reps in recent days, just seeing where they're at on some numbers, like whether they agree on some of the revenue numbers and things like that. So that's coming. And I talked to probably a dozen executives at the meetings about what they think is the impact's going to be of just the talks and the anticipation of what might come next, and whether your team's going to be willing to commit X, Y, or Z in the interim. And I got responses all over the map. The bigger market teams don't tend to be allowing this to affect their approach. Some of the smaller market teams say the same thing, but other ones, Jed admitted that they've had these talks. In fact, we can drop another clip in here because he was one of the guys I talked to.
I think it's of course, I think anytime you get towards the end of a CBA, it becomes a source of conversation. I don't know yet how much it's going to impact it. I don't think anyone here does. I think that it could have an impact. It could have no impact. It'll be something people think about because you have to.
Do you think the more likely impact is like length of commitment or dollar value AAV type thing?
Not sure, but it's definitely. I mean, like I said, it happens every time you get towards the end, and it becomes a topic of conversation. How it impacts things, I don't know yet.
Have you guys talked about your approach in that context?
Somewhat, yeah. I think you have to. Yeah.
And is it changed much? Okay.
He's so great how he tries to evade your questions. I love that dude.
By the way, he said he'll come on our podcast again.
That'd be great. We'll have him here in the studio and we'll have some fun with him. All right. I also reported this, Gordon, so it's public. I was told by an outstanding connected source, not with the Cubs.
Compared to your other sources?
I mean, you can't get much better than this. Ownership side, another city, and he said they're obviously the A's and the White Sox and the Rays and the Brewers and the Twins. They all want a salary cap and they all want cost certainty, the Pirates, people like that. He said there are 3 large market teams that are aligning with them. And that's what's going to cause this to be probably a prolonged work stoppage unless they figure this out. Can you tell me the 3 large market teams that are going to align with the smaller market and say, we're in with you, we want the salary cap?
Cubs have to be one of them.
They are.
Because they've been hiding behind. They might be top of the list of everybody who wants one. They've hid behind the luxury tax threshold forever. Well, it's definitely not. It's definitely not Middleton. It's definitely not Cohen. It's not the Dodgers.
No. Nope.
It might be the Yankees. The Yankees might be one of them.
That's 2.
Yeah.
One more.
And
American League.
Detroit.
The Boston Red Sox.
Oh, well, the Red Sox are already they're the first big market team that came in and said, we'll join the MLB umbrella for streaming rights and offer ours up to create an MLB level package. So that actually aligns.
So I was told those 3 are absolutely aligned with the smaller market.
I should have thought the Red Sox even before the Yankees, because
they said
their financial thinking's a lot like the Cubs.
Yeah, and what I was told was the financials on whether it's Marquee, whether it's Yes Network, Nesson, all these are so awful that they're like, that's it. We can't make money off this TV anymore. We have all these issues going on. Guess what? We want cost containment, cost control on salaries, and that they're prepared to flush a lot of time until they get what they want, which I think is pathetic.
I think it is foolish as shit. I don't know what the worst historical business move has been, in burying an industry or burying a major company within an industry, but this would qualify. It's just, it's so foolish. We're coming off one of the greatest World Series in history that was watched across the globe in numbers like we've never seen before.
Yep.
The team that won it just made $1 billion in revenue, and every single team in baseball is worth at least $1.7 billion based on the last team that sold, the one that was at the bottom of the 30, the Tampa Bay Rays. So the fact that there's that much revenue out there and there's that much interest, and the game's pace has improved so much since these new rules came in a few years ago, it's made it a much more entertaining game. We're just starting to see young people tune back into the game. If you shut this thing down where you lose even a substantial percentage of one season, you're not shooting yourself in the foot. You're shooting yourself in a vital organ.
Well said. I will let you get off to a family wedding that you've got cooking up, and all the best. Congratulations to you and your family, okay?
Thanks, Cap. I appreciate that, man.
Appreciate you. We'll see you back here in the studio soon. That's Gordon. I'm Cap. That's another edition of our Cubs Recap Podcast presentation presented by our great partners at Sinus and Snoring MD. Fall allergies in full swing. Ragweed, mold, dust, they trigger congestion. The cold, dry air makes your sinus problems worse. Pressure, headache, stuffy nose, and the snoring gets worse as cooler weather leads to more indoor time and dry air. Folks, do what I did. I got it fixed. Sinus and Snoring MD.com. For Gordon, I'm Cap. Come on, Tom. Loosen the purse strings. Take that. All right, Gordon.
Good stuff, man.
You got it.
I'll be around next week.
You got it.
On Tuesday.
Sounds good.
Congrats, buddy.
Okay.
Enjoy
All
the
right.
weekend with your family.
Thanks, man.
God bless. All right, bye.
Talk to you guys. All right, bye.
Oh, yeah. 3, 2, and 1. On the latest edition of our Cubs Recap Podcast, a presentation of our Recap YouTube channel. And let me do that again. 3, 2, 1. On the latest edition of our Cubs Recap Podcast, a presentation of our Recap YouTube channel and available audio only everywhere you get your favorite podcasts. Gordon Wittenmyer and I talk about the latest from the general managers' meetings. What are the Cubs going to do? Is it all pitching? Is Kyle Tucker really gone?